I came off the copper IUD 2 years ago and have been using SymptoPro fertility awareness since then for birth control. And I want to do a little recap of things that have changed, the pros and cons, and just give you a little bit of an insight 2 years after coming off the copper IUD. I was on the mini IUD from Switzerland. It was a copper one for 5 years, and then I had the Paragard placed after that one expired for the last 2 years before I came off. And when I placed the Paragard, there were all these symptoms that started to intensify a lot more drastically. I'm sure I had a lot of symptoms beforehand too, but I never associated them with the copper IUD, and I was generally really happy with the copper IUD beforehand, but the Paragard was really like the start of where I was really upset and really was looking for a natural option. Specifically, I remember putting the Paragard in, I had a lot of breakouts all of a sudden, like around my chin, and I do get occasional breakouts like around my period. I have some pimples, but I had a lot of cystic acne all of a sudden showing up. And first I was like, oh, maybe it's my skincare, because I was doing some, changes on my skincare and whatnot, but it was never that severe beforehand, and I was really fed up with that, of course. I also had severe breast tenderness after putting in the Paragard, which I always had some breast tenderness, but with the Paragard specifically, afterwards I had a week and a half of breast tenderness. It was just to the point where it was really hard to work out and just felt like a lot of pain. And also the spotting. The spotting was so bad. I would spot for like days, if not weeks on end, and I was really upset with that because you know how it is when you're consistently bleeding and just having to worry about staining everything. It's just annoying. And obviously the heavier periods, they have always been a thing with the copper IUD, which is a common side effect. But having the heavy bleeding and the spotting was really just the last straw for me. I was also really feeling inflamed, especially during my period. I had a lot of lower abdomen. Like I felt like I was just really inflamed and like puffy, which of course it can be part of having your period. It is an inflammatory process, but it just felt like it was intensified with the IUD in there as well. So fast forward to 2 years, I was getting to a point where I was so fed up and I was like, I do not want to have a foreign object in my uterus. I do not want to have hormones. I'm going the natural route, and I decided to go with SymptoPro fertility awareness. I did a lot of research. I went through the program. I had my instructor in place, and I was ready to come off the copper IUD. Although I was scared. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared because I did not want to have an unplanned pregnancy, and I also knew that I had to educate myself properly before making the switch without just like running around and not knowing exactly what I'm doing with fertility awareness. I'm gonna make a part 2, otherwise this is getting a little bit too long.